What's going on, guys? Khraze here. Welcome back to some more Cyberpunk news. Of course, the issue with the cyber attack is still ongoing and actually getting worse by the minute, because now it's not just CD Projekt Red as a company that is getting attacked, but also its current and former employees, and there's also reports of fraud happening as we speak. So according to inside sources, CD Projekt Red employees are now getting attacked, and there's also a few reports of people getting contacted by their own banks in regards to loans being taken into their own name. Really heartbreaking what's happening right now with the company. Let's discuss that in this video, and as always, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a thumbs up on it. By the way, I'm doing another giveaway in partnership with Instant Gaming. You can simply take part in it by being a subscriber to the channel and leaving a like on this video. Once you do that, simply follow the links down below, and then you can choose the game you want to enter the giveaway with. At the end of the giveaway, I'm going to announce the winner both here on this channel as well as via the email address provided. And yes, you can also increase your chances to win by simply following me and Instant Gaming on social media and completing the other steps below over there. But with that being said and done, let's talk about what happened since yesterday, because yesterday we know that the data and of course the source code for several games from CD Projekt Red were sold in a bid on some Russian forum. Eventually it did get sold for an undisclosed amount of money, and today we are seeing the first effects of that, with CD Projekt Red employees unfortunately being subject to many attacks. Now, CD Projekt Red did issue this statement previously a few days ago to their ex-employees, so as of this moment we don't possess evidence that any of your personal data was accessed. However, we still recommend caution, as in enabling fraud alerts, and if you still have questions, please write to our privacy team over at this email address right here. Well, it does seem that at least the current employees were subject to this data breach, as of course HR files were also part of that leak, and they were also subsequently sold on the black market. So yeah, courtesy to the head of the Better Gaming PR agency, Marcin Kosman, and the writer of the book Not Only The Witcher, which came in earlier today over on Twitter to explain the situation a bit and about his colleagues over at CD Projekt Red. Now, his tweets were translated, but the first one pretty much goes like this. So colleagues report that after a data leak from CD Projekt Red, group employees have changed their ID cards and verified themselves with BIC, which I believe is a service for Polish citizens that kinda handles personal data. But one has already been called by their bank reportedly, asking if he wants to take a loan, and no, that was not him, according to Marcin right here on Twitter. So a pretty bad situation overall. Now it goes into fraud territory, and it's like just escalating to a whole nother level. It also seems that even CD Projekt Red may not have the whole picture. They initially reported that no substantial user data and employee data was stolen, but now it seems that it is indeed the case. Maybe it would not be a bad idea for the users and the players, and maybe you right now, to just go ahead and change your personal details, maybe even change your passwords, because who knows about the full extent of this entire hack. But it does seem as bad as it gets. Well, it gets even worse, because now there's reports from the same person that former employees and people who were close to the company have also been affected. So it also seems that the issue concerns, for example, the data of former employees, in this case CDPR, which is a company affiliated with CD Projekt Red and one that also sells games online. But me, for example, unfortunately I learned about all of this from third parties and not from the place of the leak, so not from CD Projekt Red themselves. Lovely morning, he quotes right there at the end, which is pretty crazy. And then he also comes in with a third tweet that pretty much states, I would like to add that I have no idea what the procedure to notify former employees about it looks like. The fact is, however, that the security of HR data, as reported, has been breached. And yeah, he then also mentions about the fact that this data has to be stored for half a century, which by the way is true. Here in the EU, in most of the countries, there are laws that specify all of this employee data, like the files, the contract of employment, and everything regarding that, including the payment, like the salaries and whatnot, have to be kept in store for up to 50 years, actually full on 50 years, since these will be later used by other fiscal institutions, for example for pensions, for funds, for tax reasons, all of that kind of stuff, so that these hard copies exist and can be verified at a later date. Now, luckily enough, CD Projekt Red did have some measures in place to avoid all of this, though it wasn't possible full on the way, which is why we saw the leak happening. So this is of course reported by bankier.pl right here, which mentions that there is a proceeding regarding a hacking attack on CD Projekt Red earlier yesterday, which pretty much explains a bit what happened over at CD Projekt Red Studios. So the event was supposed to take place on the night of Sunday to Monday. On February 8, CD Projekt Red employees reported that they could not access resources on shared drives on the servers because they had been encrypted. Furthermore, the article explains that on some computers of CD Projekt Red employees, a message from hackers was displayed informing the company that it had 48 hours to contact the perpetrators. In case of disagreement, the data stolen by the hackers would be disclosed or sold, which we do already know that it already happened, as CD Projekt Red did make the announcement that they would not cooperate with the hackers and would not pay anything. So I think that that was probably their best course of action. Even if they did give in to their demands, there's no telling what they would have done after that, because they still had access to the data. They would still be able to use it in a nefarious kind of means, so it would still not bring any closure to CD Projekt Red and especially to its employees. But anyway, moving forward, there's a very interesting article where Microsoft explains how cloud gaming can help Cyberpunk 2077, and not just Cyberpunk, but any game with big game worlds. It takes a lot of effort and resources to create a beautiful and dense world like Night City for a game like Cyberpunk 2077. It takes even more to perfect a living and breathing world like the one in Red Dead Redemption 2. But what if such massive worlds could be created within days through cloud gaming? That is what Microsoft believes will become the norm in the future. Of course, they also talked about that in the context of the recent Microsoft Flight Simulator, which pretty much does that, where the entire world or the entire planet is done through cloud gaming and not on the user's files, which in turn pretty much lets you go almost anywhere on planet Earth within that game. So what if that same technology was used on a game like Cyberpunk 2077 was the question. And according to the head of cloud gaming over at Microsoft, first of all, yes, we will see more projects of that scale. He notes, I think what's gonna happen is you're gonna start to see specializations of the value chain. I've often said, for example, that the world of Red Dead Redemption, the amount of effort that Rockstar Games put into that, and to only use it for one game almost feels like a waste. It's almost like you want to build the entire world and then have multiple games in that world. I could also see a company emerging that only builds worlds, and then other companies can just lease or rent out the world for other games, which actually sounds really interesting, and I never thought about that. But he then also explains that in the context of Cyberpunk. So look at a game like Cyberpunk. Part of the cost of building the game was building the whole world out. What if someone else built a world and you just borrowed it like a backlot at a movie studio and had a live update version of your game? And yeah, I never thought about it this way, but it does sound like a really interesting piece of tech right here. Like, especially for Night City, I really loved it. I think it has a ton of charm to it. I really like the fact that it is extremely packed, so it would have been so crazy to see this being utilized for other types of games as well. Or maybe just help out with the general performance, as now you don't have to load all of those assets on your computer or on your system, but rather just use cloud gaming for that and leave the rest to your system, like the gameplay, the mechanics, and all that kind of stuff. Now, I'm not really sure how much this would have saved CD Projekt Red in terms of money, because now it seems that the budget for Cyberpunk 2077 was almost 2/3 just pure marketing. So this is of course thanks to a Reddit user, which unfortunately I cannot name, but I will link the thread down below. He did discover this over on Wikipedia. Pretty much the most costly video games ever created, with Cyberpunk 2077 being right there at the top with a total cost of 330 million. Almost said it incorrectly, that's how big it is. But basically, compared to something like GTA 5 that has a more balanced budget, where about half was spent on development and about another half on marketing, in the case of Cyberpunk 2077, 2/3 of it were into marketing alone. So maybe CD Projekt Red could have done something similar, though in their case it's not a matter of lack of money or not allocating the budget enough, it's a matter of time. They should have taken more time rather than throw more money at the game. It's just my opinion, but then again, GTA 5 also doesn't have Keanu Reeves, so yeah, that's probably also another thing that contributed to the marketing cost. But yeah, anyway, this is it for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.